Aries, week of May 20th through 26, 2026. Starspoken weekly reading. Aries. Something is turning. Not breaking. Not ending. Turning, the way a wheel turns at the exact moment it catches momentum, when everything that felt like resistance suddenly becomes forward motion. This is the week the Wheel of Fortune lands in your reading, and I want you to sit with that for a moment before we go any further. Because the wheel is not a gentle card. It is not a card that says relax, everything will be fine. It is a card that says, the cycle is shifting, and what you do in the next 7 days will determine which direction you ride it. The cosmic backdrop of this week amplifies everything. On May 20th, the Sun crosses the threshold into Gemini, a sign shift that matters more for Aries than almost any other. Gemini season pulls your attention outward, into conversation, into ideas, into connection. After the slow, grounding weight of Taurus season, which asked you to stay still when every instinct screamed to move, the Sun in Gemini gives you permission to think fast again. To talk. To reach. To make the connections that have been waiting. But here is what I need you to understand about this week. The Wheel of Fortune does not reward waiting. It rewards readiness. Mercury, now fully in Gemini, is activating your third house of communication, short-distance travel, and local connections. Conversations you've been meaning to have become urgent. Information you've been waiting for arrives. Decisions that have been stalled, in your mind, in someone else's court, start moving. The mental energy of this week is fast and sharp, and if you are paying attention, you will catch things that slip past everyone else. Jupiter, transiting Cancer and illuminating your 4th house, continues its slow work of expanding your foundation, your home, your sense of belonging, your emotional security. There is something being built beneath the surface of your daily life right now. You may not be able to see it clearly yet. But this week's Wheel of Fortune says the architecture is about to reveal itself. Saturn in Aries, your ruling energy, continues to press on your identity, your self-discipline, your relationship to your own authority. Saturn asks, who are you when no one is watching, and does that person match the one you claim to be? The wheel turning this week will answer that question in real time. Love and relationships. The Wheel of Fortune in your love reading, Aries, carries one central message: what goes around, comes around, and it is coming around now. For those of you in relationships, this week marks the turning of a cycle that began somewhere in the last 6 months. Something that was given, patience, forgiveness, sacrifice, love, is returning to you now in a form you may not immediately recognize. Pay attention to the small gestures this week. The unexpected text. The moment your partner does the thing you've been needing without being asked. The wheel doesn't always deliver its gifts with fanfare. Sometimes it leaves them quietly, for you to find. The Sun entering Gemini brings freshness and lightness to relationships that may have grown heavy during Taurus season's steady, sometimes slow pressure. This week invites levity. Conversation. Curiosity about the person you're with. Ask your partner something you've never asked before. Not a serious question, a playful one. Let Gemini season remind you that love is also supposed to be interesting. For those who are single, the Wheel of Fortune in a love reading is one of the most auspicious cards possible. It signals that fate is actively intervening in your romantic life, that a meeting, a re-encounter, or an unexpected connection is written into this week's script. The question is not whether it will happen. The question is whether you'll be where you need to be for it to happen. Go to the thing you almost skipped. Accept the invitation you were planning to decline. The wheel is turning toward you. Your action step this week: take one romantic risk, small or large. The wheel rewards courage, not comfort. Money and career. Aries, the Wheel of Fortune in your financial and professional life this week is significant, and it requires your full attention. Wheels turn in both directions. For most of you reading this, the turn is upward, an opportunity appears, a financial shift arrives, something that was stuck begins to move. For some of you, the wheel is turning away from something that has had its run, a situation, a role, a revenue stream that has quietly been closing for months. The difference between those two groups is not luck. It is whether you've been paying attention to the signals. Mercury in Gemini activating your third house makes this one of the best weeks of the year for pitches, proposals, contracts, and negotiations. If you have something to present, an idea, a price, a vision, this is the week to put it forward. The mental clarity and communication fluency of Gemini season is at your disposal. Use it. Jupiter in Cancer warming your fourth house suggests that a home-based income stream, a family business connection, or a career move that improves your quality of life is in the energy field right now. Something that merges your professional ambition with your need for emotional security. Pay attention if an opportunity arises that would let you work differently, not just more, but better. Saturn in Aries in your first house is still asking the hard professional question: are you building something that will last, or are you chasing things that feel urgent but aren't important? The wheel turning this week will make that distinction very clear. Health and energy. Aries, the shift from Taurus season to Gemini season on May 20th will be felt in your body before it registers in your mind. Taurus energy, slow, sensory, grounded, has been pulling your nervous system into a lower gear for weeks. Gemini arrives and the switch flips. Your thoughts begin to move faster. Ideas start firing in multiple directions at once. The physical restlessness that is so natural to you returns with renewed intensity. This is both gift and warning. The energy surge of early Gemini season can feel like an invitation to run at full speed immediately, to stack your schedule, pursue 3 projects at once, stay up too late talking and planning and ideating. Resist this impulse for the first 2 or 3 days of the week. Let your body acclimate to the shift before you accelerate. The Wheel of Fortune also carries a health message this week: cycles of recovery and exertion matter. You cannot maintain peak output indefinitely. This week, notice where you are in your own cycle, and act accordingly, not aspirationally. Your head and jaw, Aries body points, may feel the mental acceleration of Gemini season as tension. Breathing practices, jaw releases, and intentional movement will serve you well this week. Personal growth. The Wheel of Fortune is one of the great mythological cards of the tarot, and this week it asks you, Aries, to grapple with something you don't always sit comfortably with, the relationship between your choices and your fate. Aries lives in the belief, correctly, usually, that effort creates outcomes that will shape reality. That if you push hard enough, long enough, in the right direction, you will arrive. And this is true. But the Wheel of Fortune introduces the element that Aries most needs to integrate, timing. Not everything that is meant to happen can be forced to happen on your schedule. Some things require the wheel to turn to the right position first. This week, notice where you've been pushing against the natural timing of something in your life. Not because pushing is wrong, but because there may be a door in front of you right now that is actually already open, while you're still focused on trying to break down a wall somewhere else. The sun entering Gemini opens your mind to new perspectives. This is the week to ask, what if the thing I've been waiting for is already here, and I just haven't turned to look at it yet? Pluto, still retrograde in Aquarius, continues its deep audit of your 11th house, your community, your networks, your sense of belonging to something larger than yourself. The wheel turning this week may bring a person back into your orbit, or show you clearly who is cycled out. Both are information, challenges and warnings. The primary challenge of the Wheel of Fortune for Aries is the temptation to try to control the turn. You will feel the shift this week. The energy moving. The sense that something is changing, aligning, arriving. And because you are Aries, the cardinal fire sign who initiates, who acts, who does not wait, your instinct will be to grab the wheel and steer it yourself. This is the wrong move. The Wheel of Fortune is the card of fate, of cycles larger than any single will. Your role this week is not to drive, it is to be ready. To be positioned. To say yes when the turn brings something to you, and to release what the turn is moving away from you. Watch also for the scatter that Gemini season can introduce. Mercury in Gemini gives you access to many ideas, many conversations, many directions simultaneously, which is wonderful, and which can also leave you feeling pulled apart rather than powered up. Choose your focus before the week begins. 1 or 2 priorities, held steadily, will accomplish more than 10 interests pursued in parallel. Finally, the wheel brings change. Some of that change may arrive in the form of surprise this week, something unexpected, something that disrupts your plans. Before you react, breathe. Ask, is this the wheel removing an obstacle, or creating one? The answer is usually the former. Closing. Aries, the wheel is turning in your favor this week, but favor does not mean passive. It means aligned. It means that your effort, your readiness, your willingness to engage will meet a cosmic tailwind rather than the headwind you've been pushing against. Show up fully. Say the thing. Make the move. Send the message. Have the conversation you've been postponing. The wheel doesn't come around on your timeline, but this week, it has come around. That is the gift. What you do with it is yours. Your affirmation for this week: I move with the current of change. I am ready for what the wheel is bringing me. This is your Starspoken reading for the week of May 20th through 26. If this landed for you, subscribe every week, a dedicated reading for your sign, built with depth and honesty. And tell me in the comments, what cycle in your life feels like it's finally turning right now? I read every single one. Until next week, Aries. The wheel is yours.